You just got wrecked.
What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. So today is Wednesday. That's right, it's hump day, but let's have a look at what's going on. Bitcoin is up 0.73%. Basically, Bitcoin really hasn't done much in the past 24 hours. In fact, ever since we sort of had that massive pump on October 25th, Bitcoin really hasn't done anything, really, to be honest. I mean, we did have this little breakout right here where we went up to about that $9,615 level, but then we sort of just came back to earth and just continued on our trend sideways. So the question is, what's going on with Bitcoin? Has Bitcoin run out of steam? Do the bulls not have enough momentum? I do want to talk about some specific indicators right now. One which is potentially bullish and another one which actually looks a little bit bearish. So I do want to look at both sides of the coin. Pun intended, okay, if that sounds good to you. Also, we did have some news that came out from China, which you could actually take as some potentially bullish news. Also, the fact that Ron Paul basically said that in order to protect your wealth in the next upcoming pretty much global financial economic crisis, he suggests that maybe you do have some exposure to cryptocurrencies as well. We also have another fake Toshi claiming to be Satoshi Nakamoto, and one other analyst basically has been mentioning why he thinks that the stock to flow model might be flawed and what we should really be looking for when we're looking at why Bitcoin's price should increase anyway, right? So essentially, that's what we're going to talk about today. And if that sounds good to you, you know what to do. Also, if you're not subscribed to the Crypto Zombie channel, we do this every single day, and every Monday we do give away a Ledger Nano S. All you got to do is drop a comment on literally any video throughout the course of the week, and you are eligible. And by the way, before we get into this, somebody yesterday was like, I bet K-Dub only has one ledger and he doesn't even give them away. No, I definitely do give away ledgers, okay? You can see right here, I'm obviously not hoarding these for my own health, okay? So yes, we do give away ledgers, and you can ask any of the winners, okay? I don't know why you would think that, but it's just something we've been doing on the channel pretty much since I can remember, and it's a lot of fun. So having a look right here, having a look at CoinMarketCap, you do notice that Bitcoin is up 0.52%. All right, we do have some green today across the board. Bitcoin dominance still pulling back. I have noticed the altcoins putting in some gains in the background. Some of them actually have been outpacing Bitcoin quite recently. In fact, we do have some on the front page. Dragon Coins up $85,000 worth of volume. I don't know about that. Algorand, iExec, Bytecoin, Komodo, Swipe, Quant, Lambda, Synthetics, Nano, and actually a decent amount are doing quite well. We still do have relatively low volume. You do know that as volatility starts to decrease, we get that lower volume. We get to the end of the apex. Well, that's when we look for those massive breakouts or breakdowns like that attempt that we did have a few days ago, right? Having a look over here, you are noticing that the longs are up slightly, 51.28%. Does this mean that Bitcoin is going to skyrocket to the moon? Well, not necessarily. You can see over on Bitfinex, there is a little bit of selling going on, so we have to take that with a grain of salt. Currently, though, Bitcoin dominance, although it has been falling, is still sort of hovering around that 70% level. You can see right here. So I think that traders are still sort of not going hardcore 100% into the altcoins, but I do think that they are increasing their altcoin exposure a little bit, and we have talked about that previously on the channel. But really, what's going on right here is we basically just keep getting stomped out by this resistance I've been talking about for the past week, is essentially this $9,484 level. You can see we wick above it, and then we tried again, and we got stomped out yet again. So obviously, the more that you hit a resistance or a support, the more you tend to weaken it, right? But we don't want to get rejected if we cannot break above it. So short term, that is the level to keep your eyes on. You can see right here, same thing. Now, as far as the lower level is concerned, I kind of have that floor at around the $8,800 level. Going any lower than that, and I would be concerned, because don't forget also, you would be going below the 200 daily, right? Now, the bearish thing that I do want to talk about real quick, and this is what Bloomberg pointed out, okay? They're basically talking about this global strength indicator. Now, they say that this is a measure of upward and downward movements of successive closing prices. So it's currently nearing the 70 level, meaning that its price is likely to soon decline after being overheated. So the price movement resembles when Bitcoin traded around $12,000 in August, but failed to break through the resistance and then suffered a drop of about $2,000 within the next following week. So do I think that this absolutely needs to happen? Well, you are noticing right here that you're having a massive interest in Bitcoin-backed volume right now. So yes, keep in mind, futures, you could go both ways on it, right? However, as soon as we did have that major pop, you've noticed, look, 10.3 million. And just yesterday, we did 10 million again in Bitcoin volume over on Backed as well. But here is something incredibly bullish. And I just want to entertain this fact for just a second, okay? Now, originally, when we put in this move, before we were calling it a triangle, we were calling it sort of a potential bull flag, right? But then it got to the point where, well, maybe this flag is getting a little bit too long and this doesn't really look like a flag anymore, right? But you can't deny that excluding the wicks, looking on the daily, Bitcoin has essentially maintained within this channel, every once in a while getting supported sort of by this middle trend, whereas here it was, support, down here it was resistance, okay? And currently the top of the line is acting as resistance again. So hear me out. Two things I want to point out. Number one, we are obviously being sandwiched right here between the 200 daily and this resistance. And you can see there's only about 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, 5 more days before we actually get to the end of this and we have nowhere to go, where we're actually going to be sandwiched between, like, right at the end of this resistance and this 200 daily moving average as support. That's number one. But hypothetically, and this is just hypothetical, I'm not saying Bitcoin is going to this price, but just hear me out. What if this is just a gigantic bull flag, right? What if it just possibly, think about that. And what if the consolidation that we had back here was actually just part of the flag itself, remember? So if that was the case, and just having some fun, okay, don't kill the messenger, if we were to have a measured move of a breakout from where we are right now, that would actually put Bitcoin upwards around $18,000. So that's if you think that's the case. This could be totally crazy and you could just throw this out, the window, but I was looking at it and thinking to myself, we were calling it essentially a bull flag a while ago, and it has maintained this channel, so that's the situation I wanted to talk about. Also keep in mind though, on the negative side, if we do fall down, we may retest the bottom of this channel, which would be very, very bearish, okay? So I just wanted to show you guys sort of both sides of that possibility. But either way, having a look sort of where we're coming to the end right here, you can see here's the 200 daily, and here basically is the triangle that we're looking at, and right here is the apex, and that's on November 12th. So either way, I would be looking for a massive move pretty much by then. And currently you can see Bitcoin is very indecisive as to what it wants to do right now. But one more little bullish thing also I wanted to talk about was the fact that we are looking to have a potential golden cross on the 50 and the 100 moving averages. Now, keep in mind, these are lagging indicators, which means they tend to happen after the movement. So if you are anticipating that they're going to have a golden cross, well, your best bet would be to either place your bets or accumulate or put your trades in now, because you could see back here, for example, once we had the death cross, we had already been declining for quite some time. And then once we put in this, bull cross, or excuse me, golden cross, we already actually started pumping. So we may actually have already started pumping right here, and that might have already been the beginning of, this potential golden cross. But I do want to point out that eventually we are going to most likely have the blue 100 cross over the 50, which is a bullish sign. So that's basically just what I wanted to point out. But obviously, if you are trading on leverage, definitely be safe. And if you guys watched my video yesterday, I talked about why anything above 10x is a little bit risky, because essentially these whales look for those 10% and they do those Darth Maul wicks, okay? So that's just basically what I was saying yesterday. Be safe with that. Check out yesterday's video if you don't know what I'm talking about. But also, if you are interested, I do have a tutorial on Bybit above, and of course, links below. But here is the other bullish news that came out. They're basically saying that Bitcoin mining will not face a state crackdown in China. Authorities have actually confirmed this in a new official document. The change came via the new edition of China's Industrial Structural Agreement Guidance Catalog, which basically will take effect starting the beginning of next year. Now, you do have to note, and this is from Samson Mao, basically, cryptocurrency mining is no longer on the list of undesirable industries. However, this is not the first step to China legalizing mining. Mining was never illegal in the first place. So we just have to kind of make sure that we get our terminology correct here, okay? It's not that it was illegal, it was undesirable, and it was on a list of things that essentially they were looking to eradicate, okay? But either way, it's still bullish, but it's not like China's saying, yeah, let's just everybody start mining and, you know, we're going to be setting up exchanges. And no, they're still, they like blockchain, but the whole crypto Bitcoin thing, they're still on the fence about, okay? But I just wanted to point that out. Now, as far as what I was telling you guys in the beginning, what Ron Paul was saying, he says protecting wealth in the next crash will involve buying crypto. Now, he was actually he had an interview with Naomi Brockwell, who I've actually had an opportunity to be on her show before. She's really, really cool. I love her videos. And basically, he kicked it off by stating that the government has a responsibility and has been messing up, causing the depression and recessions. And by the way, if you guys want, I'll drop a link. You guys could watch the whole video. But this is just basically a summary. And he continued stating that competition is healthy and decentralized digital assets provide that. There is a large responsibility to protect people's wealth, which banks are failing to do due to the massive flaws in the current financial system. But he is predicting a major economic crash, and we are no longer at the stage where we can make a lot of money, but the stage where we need to protect what we have. He says it's not easy. Hopefully the crypto market is going to help. Protecting wealth has traditionally been done by owning stuff, okay? People will want to get out of the dollar and buy assets like property. Some people, if they're comfortable, will buy cryptocurrencies. Also, in another just side note here, there was an interview with Gerald Celente, publisher of the Trends Journal, and he basically said that the Fed is just shooting money to keep the addicted bull running. He added that this cheap money is an attempt to encourage more spending, but that the earnings are not there and customer debt levels are getting even heavier. In fact, there was this big piece that came out from Ray Dalio, and a lot of people are talking about this. Essentially, he posted this thing, the world has gone mad and the system is broken. He talks about economic inequality has become a national emergency, okay? And essentially, you know, we have all this money that's basically just being printed, but only for people who have credit worthiness. It is essentially unavailable to those who don't have money and credit worthiness. So essentially, it's just making the gap wider and wider, and cryptocurrencies could be basically the tool to essentially bridge the gap. So I know that was a little bit, kind of got a little bit deep on that one, but you know, you do have to really think about it. It's fun to speculate on the price of Bitcoin going up and going down, but at the same time, you know, one of the reasons why I hold Bitcoin is because of its censorship resistance, because it's actually mine, because it's non-confiscatable, because it's deflationary by default, right? So many things that these fiat systems out there just will never have, right? So that's basically that situation. Now, talking about Bitcoin and why it is so valuable and what's great about it, Alex Kruger basically says that, you know, the stock to flow basically model that we always talk about on the channel all the time, Plan B, 100 trillion, right? He says that the stock to flow model is to bulls what tether manipulation paper is to the bears. Both based on fancy looking statistical models. Both are flawed. Doubt whoever believes in these extremes will change their mind. The mind believes what it wants to believe. Okay, so that's kind of like, so what exactly are you saying here, Alex? Well, basically, he says Bitcoin is a demand side story. Supply is fully deterministic. There is no supply side shocks. Fixed total supply and diminishing supply growth are crucial because these drive demand. It is that simple. Demand is what matters. Maybe it is that simple. Maybe it literally is just supply and demand and everybody tries to overcomplicate this whole Bitcoin thing. Maybe that's why Bitcoin is destined for success because of its simplicity. Let me know what you think about that. I do still like the stock to flow model though. I don't think we should just throw it out the window. But that being said, also wanted to touch upon the 2017 potential manipulation, which I had a lot of I was thinking to myself, this isn't possible for one person to manipulate the entire market. Apparently, a lot of other people are currently coming out and agreeing with me as well. In fact, you could see one of the things to note is that Tether's market cap was around $1 billion in 2017, while Bitcoin's price is now 50% lower. Tether's market cap has increased 4 times. So if the ratio of Tether being printed had anything to do with the Bitcoin price, then the Bitcoin price should be substantially higher than it was at the all-time high of 2017, right? Because we have more Tether. So that's just one thing. And according to Elaine Wu, a Bloomberg contributor, she basically says once the ban was in effect, traders had no way to trade back to yuan, and this is referring to what happened with Beijing's ban. So essentially, they just used Tether because it was close enough to the yuan that they were used to, okay? So just wanted to point that out moving forward. Finally, guys, we have another scammer. We have a fake Satoshi, another fake Toshi. This time he goes by the name Jorg Molt. Now, this is from Andreas Antonopoulos, and he basically took a picture with him, and he's been saying that they're friends, and Yeah, this is the total lie. I haven't really done too much research, but from what I've seen, this guy is offering courses or something like that. I don't know. He's a scammer. He's a liar. Andreas is coming out saying that, he doesn't know them. And also, I just wanted to give a shout out to my buddy, Ken Bosak, essentially for calling this guy out on his Twitter. If you're not following Ken Bosak, by the way, you guys got to check him out on Twitter. He's always at all the conferences. And basically, he's like, look at this guy. He basically just showed, a pre-recorded screen saying that he had all this Bitcoin. Then he said he could hack Ethereum. Where's that part where he said he could? Oh, this is hilarious. Look.
They can hack Ethereum below to 5 minutes. They can hack Ethereum below to 5 minutes.
He says he can hack Ethereum in less than 5 minutes or something like that. Okay, Jorg, then do it. So, yeah, essentially this guy's a scammer, Jorg. So, thank you, Ken Bosak, for pointing that out. By the way, if you guys don't stay to the end of the videos, I always put memes. I did have this yesterday, walking into a conference, walking into Ken Bosak. Ken Bosak is, notorious for calling out scammers. I remember when I was in, where was it? It was Consensus. And we were over by the Civic app machine for the beer, and he was screaming, calling some guy out. It was hilarious, actually. But so yeah, stay away from this guy Jorg. He's a scammer. Obviously, he's not Satoshi. But yeah, anyway, let's talk about some other news. So it looks like cryptocurrency exchange Bitfinex has canceled its token sale for K.im, which is Kim.com's Bitcoin content sharing service. The reason they claimed was because they are facing regulatory scrutiny over these such tokens. So after careful evaluation, they said, we regret to announce that Bitfinex token sales and the K.im team have mutually agreed not to have the token sale at this time. K.im will defer any decision on whether to create tokens on or undertake a token issue in relation to the K.im platform until it is fully functional. And on that note, let's see, where are we doing at backed? Where are we doing? 322? 434. All right, so bring in that backed volume, guys. And Bitcoin is... All right, well, we are being pushed down, but like I said, guys, we are trying to push to the end, so we might bounce around in here. This is on a daily, so we could bounce around 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 more days, but we do know that Bitcoin does tend to be an impatient asset, so I wouldn't expect it to get to the very end. I would expect a breakout, probably by the end of this week or maybe by early weekend, but that's just what I'm looking at, guys. You know how Bitcoin goes. Anything can happen. Let me know what you think.